when you're talking about months, you use the word im to indicate in a particular month. Effectively, it means in the month of. Okay, so it is like in the. Okay, so when you say in October, ich reise im Oktober.
Im October.
That is right. That would be perfect. Okay, so now continue. Let us then continue a small conversation. So now, wie viel Kinder haben Sie?
Ich habe 2 Kinder.
Okay. Now, wann sind Sie verheiratet?
Is it what are their names or?
No. Wann. The question here is
Okay.
wann. Wann ante eppudu ani artham. So it is something related to time.
Okay.
So you see, when it is, you're still in the process of acquiring a vocabulary. So what you do is now try to figure out what is heirat.
Okay.
See, quite often you see what happens when you are going to look up a word in the dictionary. If it happens to be a verb especially, the verb has to be in its infinite form for it to be able to, for the dictionary to be able to tell you. When you are conjugating it, there are going to be multiple forms: present tense, simple past, the present perfect. So there are about some 9 forms of the verbs. It's not going to show you 9 into, they say 27, 30 forms of the verbs are not going to be shown over there. So quite often you have to, when you're searching for a verb, you have to look for it in the infinite form. So in this one, always what you do is just come in between, and this is then going to be heiratet. You remove it, and then it is going to be heiraten. So now go and look for heiraten. Tell me what it then says.
It is married.
Marriage. It is getting, so verheiratet is then getting married. So when did you get married?
Okay. Ich bin verheiratet.
Ich heiratete. Okay, ich bin in, you give the time. So ich bin in.
Ich bin in Mai 2013
Okay.
verheiratet.
Okay, right. Now, arbeitet Ihre Frau? Arbeitet Ihre Frau?
Meine Frau nicht arbeitet.
Arbeitet nicht.
Okay, arbeitet nicht.
Yeah. See, nicht is going to be considered as an adverb. Now, where German is concerned, it is never allowed to come before the verb. So, like now when you were having your, if you remember the first one where we were then.
Yeah, again here that V2 also applies. So I think we should get arbeiter first.
Not that alone, not that alone. Basically, the point is like here, all of these are adverbs. Okay, like now when you're talking about adverbs, you say, I understand, then I don't understand. Now, in German, we say, I understand not. You will not say, I don't understand, I understand not. The negation is going to go to the last. So here, even in these things are examples, in the last three examples, you've got all of them are going to be considered as this one. So my mother tongue is Telugu. I also speak German and English. Okay, so I also speak. But when you come here in German, you're going to say, I speak also. Now, similarly, when you then come to this one, here, what happens? You're going to then say, Gyan is then like to. It is then going to be like to. So, would you like to come along for the movie? Would you like to come to the movies? Gyan. Certainly, surely, I would like to. Okay. So, Gyan is then going to be like this. So now here, I like to read. I like to read. So here what happens, the word in German we're writing, I read gladly or I like to read. We translate it as that. But in reality, what is happening, the word, the reading is going to be made into the infinite form. And you're using the adverb is being made as the verb in English. So you're going to then say, I like to read, I like to play. But when you're translating, technically, I mean, that's how you're translating. But in German, it is going to be, many students make the mistake of trying to then say, I read gladly, I play gladly. It is not, that doesn't work like that. Okay? So it's going to be an adverb. Adverbs, in the case of German, never allowed to come between the verb and the subject and the verb. They are inviolate. So, meine Frau arbeitet nicht. Okay, right.
That verb is arbeitet or it will be arbeit?
Yes, arbeitet is the verb. When you are creating a sentence, there are two methods. One is going to be either with a W word, wann, wie, wo, where, warum, welche, and so forth. The other is then taking the verb and reversing it. So, now here what happens is, ihre Frau arbeitet. Your wife works. Ihre wife, so then ihre Frau arbeitet by TCS. Your wife works by TCS. Now when you then come here, you see, when you're reversing it, arbeitet ihre Frau by TCS. So you're putting the verb in the front and your intonation changes. Arbeitest du by accentuar. Okay. Wo arbeitest du? Wo is then going to be where do you work? So it's all in the question of how you are putting the thing. So 90%. So now, wohnen Sie in Hyderabad is a question. Sie wohnen in Hyderabad is a statement. Okay, so reversing the verb and putting it in the beginning of the question with this is definitely then going to make it into a question form. So question is either with a verb or it is going to be with a question word.
Okay. Now, in the answer, should we say arbeitet or it is arbeite?
Arbeitet, because when you are coming here, ich arbeite, du arbeitest, sie, es arbeitet.
Okay, okay. Since we are talking about second person.
So ihre Frau is going to be third person.
Third person, okay.
It is going to be in this particular form.
Okay.
All right. So here we have last learned a little bit about the present perfect, where we have been using two verbs. Now, in your situation also, what is then going to happen? I need you to start working upon how you are then going to. Then you should create a few questions every day. Now, in the this one, what we call when you take any of these PDFs which you're going to then have over here, you're going to then find that you're going to have immediately after the self introduction, you are then going to find that there's going to be a set of verbs. I mean, set of words which are then going to be here. There's going to be something which we call as the base topic. So base topic here is going to be essen und trinken. So eating and drinking. So Now, there is a word over here. It says Lieblingsessen. So your favorite food. Now, you are supposed to create a question over here. Now, how would you then ask somebody what is their favorite food?
Was ist Ihr Lieblingsessen?
Richtig. So, meine Lieblingsessen sind Obst. So, my very favorite foods are fruits. Okay. Now when I will ask a question and you will answer. This is at A2 level also. This is then what is going to happen. There is going to be a question answer session. So we're going to then say, trinken Sie Bier gerne? Trinken Sie Bier gerne? So then you can answer, do you like to drink? So you can say, ja.
Ich trinke
Bier gerne. If you want to qualify it, you can say manchmal. Sometimes. Okay. Right. So like this, a question answer is then going to be part and parcel of it. So here now is essen and trinken. And again, you got the word Fleisch. What would you then say is then going to be how would you then create a question around this? You can say for
it. Do you like to eat meat?
Do you eat meat?
Okay.
How will you now go ahead with that? Don't translate literally. There are certain things you cannot translate literally.
Isst du Fleisch?
Perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Isst du Fleisch? Essen Sie Fleisch? Perfect. Right. So then we say, nein, ich bin vegetarisch. Nein, ich bin vegetarisch. I am vegetarian. Okay. Now, so this, apart from this one, what else do you require? You are then going to get more of these. So you get other things. So here it is then going to be einkaufen. Einkaufen is then shopping. Okay. Purchasing. Okay. So when you're then coming here, you want to ask a question like this. So I'll say, okay, hast du heute die Zeitung gekauft? Have you purchased the newspaper today? So hast du heute die Zeitung gekauft? How would you then respond?
Yes. Yes, ich kaufe.
Don't say yes, you say ja.
Ja, ich kaufe.
Ich habe die Zeitung gekauft. I told the question was, hast du die Zeitung gekauft? Hast du. I'm using with an auxiliary verb and it is coming in the form of a present perfect. So you have to then do that.
Ja, ich habe die Zeitung gekauft.
Absolutely right. Right. So that was an example of questions and answers. You are now going to try incorporating this in your homework. Okay. So coming to the question of your homework. Okay. You have done, started doing everything fine. Only one small thing I would then suggest to you. So we have recently learned about what we call the sequencing of words. So how this is done in this one and simple sentences and so forth. I would suggest that and complex sentences also you have covered. So the thing here is when you're talking about complex sentences and all that, first thing is you are going to try to go as much as possible in the case of English with the subject, the verb, the time, the manner, and the place. This is then going to give you an accurate translation. So first one, here when you say in Sommer, this is then going to be referring to about time. Then here you have the verb. So I've said that if I'm using an element other than this one, if I'm using an element other than the subject, the verb continues in the second position, but the subject must come immediately after the verb. So it is then going to be feed and mention, is then going to be my subject over here. Okay. Gyan, as I told you, is going to be an adverb. And in the case of English, when you are then putting it together, the adverb is then going to come in first over here. So you're going to put the adverb over here. Okay. So now, and this is then going to be the place. This is the preposition. It's a preposition, and this is then going to be the place. Now I've got time and place. So now, if when I'm then coming in the case of this one, it is then going to be TMP becomes MPT in the case of the English language. There is no M, so I have to now go with the place and the time. Now, when I'm going to read this, what should I then say? Many people like to travel
to Austria in summer.
That would be a true translation of into the German. It is not wrong to put it like this, because even in English we do sometimes put the element of time outside. Okay, but when you're trying to observe this one, we try to then see that the subject, adverb, verb, time, manner, place is then going to come over here. Similarly now, when you come here, Wien and Salzburg is referring to places, obviously. It is about places. Treffen is then going to be then the verb here, and sich is going to be a reflexive pronoun. So, Tourists aus aller Welt is going to make one single element. Tourists from all over the world is then going to be making one single element. So, as you have learned earlier, when you're making a sentence, when we then say SVO, the verb and the subject need not be consisting of one word. So here you've got this one consisting of 4 words. Tourists from all over the world. Meet, especially in Vienna and Salzburg. Is then going to give us a reasoning for the purpose of. It's a small little word, but it has got multiple meanings. So Umgebung is going to be surroundings. So Umkehr, Verkehr, there are going to be so many things which are going to be. So is then going to be auf Konzerte zu gehen, to go to concerts, to visit museums, and undertake, to undertake, zu unternehmen, undertake little excursions outside of the cities. Outside of the cities. Der Städte, of the cities. So then comes the next one. So there's the means. What you have done is word for word translation. Fortunately, it happens to have come out okay, but it may not happen every time. So first one, certain amount of caution and this is going to happen. Right. Okay. Now, where are we? Right. Today, we shall then be focusing upon how do we actually then get around to writing. There's something which we have to take up. It's going to be called as writing letters. So we've learned how to read and understand. We've learned a little bit about listening. And we will be talking about listening also. That's another one that I have to now take you out of. You've been doing quite well with your these tone bands and all that. But we need to then get out of this. There is no street in front of the house. Vor dem Haus gibt es keine Straße. That means this not heard it correctly. It should be gibt es keine Straße. Let me just check. Dropbox. This cannot be right. There is. You have not. There is a particular This one, what we call a particular verbal phrase or phrasal verb, which is used extremely often in the case of the German language. This is then going to be something which is called as gibt. Okay. Es gibt. Es gibt is indicative of there is or there are. It works both ways, singular and also the plural. So here, then you will find an example of how this is then going to work. So here you are, is there then es gibt, then und, Essen, the Mitte liegt, and this one, es gibt, and this is then going to be not in incidents, right? In der Küche and family ist, in der Küche gibt es, and es gibt dort, and this one. So es ist. So you're going to then find over here, you can see frequently the word es gibt is coming or gibt is. So when I'm using an element outside, I'm beginning with an element, es gibt is es gibt then becomes gibt es, following the rule of verb in the second position. So es is, as you know, the third person singular. So it is then going to be there is. Now in the first sentence it says, es gibt auch einen Garten. There is also a garden. There is also a garden. Come to the word, in the garden there is, or there is a lot of work. A lot of work. Now, in the house there are 2 bathrooms. Come to the fourth example. There is a comfortable sofa. Now, the fifth one. There is also a chimney in the living room. In the kitchen, there is a dishwasher. Spülmaschine is going to be a dishwasher. Like this, you're going to find this happening all over. Now, let us go to number 17. Here we clear this drawings over here.
50 languages.
Seventeen.
17.
Around the house.
Im Haus.
Im Haus. Our house is here.
Hier ist unser Haus.
Hier ist unser Haus. The roof is on top.
Oben ist das Dach.
Oben ist das Dach. The basement is below.
Unten ist der Keller.
Now pay attention. Wherever the there is then going to occur, it is going to say is gibt or is gibt. So hinter dem Haus gibt es ein Garten. Now pay attention.
Unten ist der Keller. There is a garden behind the house.
Hinter dem Haus ist ein Garten.
Okay, he has used
Hinter
an
dem
is.
Haus ist ein Garten.
Okay.
There is no street in front of the house.
Vor dem Haus ist keine Straße.
Technically, we're supposed to use the gibt es over here. Okay.
Vor dem Haus ist keine Straße. There are trees next to the house.
Neben dem Haus sind Bäume.
Sind Bäume. Bäume is then going to be with an umlaut. and you're then going to say this is going to be Bäume. So this is then going to be trees. Okay. So he has opted to use a different form here, but technically we're supposed to be using the Giptus along these forms over here. Right.
Okay.
Let us now then come over here. So we are now in the process of learning how does one write a letter. So this is the topic for the day. Now also we are also going to be learning about how to do listening of PDFs. We are not, what you've been listening is a stage one, where you've been listening to tapes from this one. Now you're going to come to the tapes over here, and I will then teach you the technique of how to listen to such a tape. So here we get rid of this one. Now let us then come over here. First is, writers are going to be primarily falling into 4 categories, you can then say. So first one is then you're going to get a letter. So the first one is going to be a letter which is being received. Okay, so you can then say that, okay, I'm going to then say it's going to be falling in for one of 4 categories. So this is then going to be, so you're going to then say, okay, this is then going to be, when you come here, you're going to then say formal. Okay. Now, the other one you can then say is going to be formal. The other is going to be informal. Now, you can then have a formal letter. This is then going to be a letter written by you. This is by you. Formal letter written by you. It's a formal letter received by you. Received by you. So that means you are expected to answer this one. Okay. So when you are then coming here, you got an informal letter. This has been then written by you, and the other is then received by you. So each of them is going to have a different way of how it is then going to be written over here. So first one, let us then understand how this is then going to work over here. Now, here, when you are writing a letter, it's going to have multiple, this one which you're going to have. So first one is then called as the address. How do you address a person? Dear sir, dear madam. Hello, darling. Okay, my dear friend. So, hi, or whatever. It's basically informal, formal. There are going to be 2 ways in which you're going to be addressing. Formal letters can be to, for example, somebody, your boss. Sir, I'm sick, I need holiday, I need a break. So doctors recommended 10 days of bed rest. So I will not be coming for work. Okay, that is your addressing the boss. You're addressing your headmaster. So, dear sir, so my son is sick and we will not be coming for school for the next couple of days. What she can do then put this, we have a family function and we are traveling. So my kid will not be coming to school for the next 3 days. That is then you're addressing the person concerned. So formal way, informal way. The formal way when you are addressing, it is invariably then going to be, the most common form that you're going to be using is going to be sehr geehrter Herr. Ehren, if you look at this one, this is the verb over here. Ehren, E-H-R. Now that is a stem. If I then add an en to it, it then tells me to honor, to respect somebody. So it is effectively here what we are writing is a very respected sir. So when you are addressing anybody as sir, okay, your teacher, for example, so you then use basically in a written form, formal way, here you can use it like this. So in a spoken form, you will simply say mein Herr. So if you're then going to call a waiter in this one. You then say, Mr. Waiter. So you then say, Herr Kellner. Herr Kellner. You're going to use this to attract the attention. So coming back to this, you're going to say, Sehr geehrter Herr. Sehr geehrte Frau. Now notice over here, when it is referring to masculine or to men, you're going to have an ER. You'd require an ER. Whereas if it is going to be a feminine one, you only can stop with an E. R is not required.
Okay.
Now, if the person happens to have a professional title such as a doctor or lawyer or something like that, then you are going to have to include the title also. It is normal to include the title. So, sehr geehrte Frau Professorin, so Neubar. So, very respected Mrs. Professor Neubar. Rechtsanwältin is then going to be a legal rights lawyer. Anwalt is lawyer. Anwältin is then going to be the feminine form of it. Okay, so this is then going to be how it is working out in the case of this one here. Then comes the question of so you're addressing a doctor. So you then going to say, Sehr geehrter Herr Doctor, Mr. Doctor. The Mr. is mandatory. You don't simply say Dr. Schmidt. It is going to be an informal way of address. So you then say Herr Dr. Schmidt. When you're coming with the casual or informal way, obviously then you're then going to say lieber and say for masculine. So you're writing a letter to your dad, lieber Vater. So dear dad. Writing to your brothers, then say lieber Bruder. Or you say lieber Anton, lieber Harish, whatever you would like to then put on the other side. So this is the first thing this is the address, formal, informal. When you are then coming down, you notice this in this part, the next one, a small red line is there on the two things, Liebe Maria and Ich bin so froh. The first thing that you notice here, so unlike in English, the word which follows your greeting begins with a small letter. So in this one, it's not followed in the case of German, you will not find that happening. But here, when you're writing in German, English to Rairu, but here in German, this is mandatory. This very first one immediately after greeting is not going to be capitalized. Okay. Now, here you then come to the basic, this one, the pronoun. Once you choose Miru Nuvu, so Z and then Du, you have to stick with it for the rest of these sentences. Don't try to change it to some places, in some places making it Z, in some places making it Du. So it has to be uniform throughout. Then the body of the letter, so where you are then going to be writing, you've got some standard phrases which are going to be given to you here. Okay, and okay. So this is then going to be The standard for uses what you can get. The Germans are a polite race, so they like to then usually always acknowledge. So how do they then write? So if you are writing a letter as a reply, you're going to say, Vielen Dank für deinen Brief. Thank you very much for your letter. So, ich habe mich da sehr darüber gefreut. These are standard phrases, so you can, without thinking, you can then simply put it down. So then, I'm very happy to have received it. Okay, now, this is then what you're going to then put. So, otherwise, if you're responding late to a letter, maybe let us say your parents, for example, and you were in college day and you've not written to them. So here, when you're writing, ja, ich weiß, dass ich schon lange nicht geschrieben habe. I know that I have not written in a long time. But, ich war so beschäftigt in letzter Zeit. I was terribly busy in the compiling this one. So this is how you're going to then use the body of the letter. Try using this maximum possible for this one. And finally, when you are then concluding, there is then going to be a winding up of the letter. Again, it is going to follow the format of informal and formal. So now, unlike in English, there is no comma after a concluding expression. So like when you want to then say, lots of love, and then you put down Anna. Okay. So there is going to be no comma. You will just say, Grüß Helga. So you can be using a personal pronoun or a possessive, this one in the front. You can then say, okay, so you're then going to then say, your Ravi. So dein Uwe, deine Uwe. Suppose you're writing to your mom, you can say your, this one, so you can say deine Uwe. Okay, so deine Ravi. So you can feminine it, deine, masculine it, dein. So dein, deine, if you're going to choose, if you're a female and so forth. So ihre, and then in the face of a formal relation. Now, and the final casual ones are then going to be the ones, greetings from. So like Grüße aus Indien. So greetings from India. Grüße aus, Grüße aus Hyderabad. Grüße aus Tenari, whatever is the place that you happen to be currently residing. Viele Grüße, liebe Grüße, simply Grüße. Nothing else, only just this one. These are all the various informal ones. Okay. Now, in the case of emails, you then have nowadays you can then write a ciao, okay, or you can write Max gut. Quite often, you're then going to be using. This is then going to be the one which will be used frequently in the case of emails. MFG, mit freundlichen Grüßen, with friendly greetings. It's also the formal way of then saying. So when you're writing mit freundlichen Grüß, mit freundlichen Grüß, here you can say mit freundlichen Grüßen, with friendly greetings, with friendly greeting. This is singular, that is plural. That is why this has got freundlichen and this has got freundlichen. So you can use these various forms for doing it. Now, what I would like you to do, I would like you to then open your PDF number 1. So go to page number 12. So in page number 12, you are then going to have this letter over here. So can you now read it for me? Go ahead.
Guten Tag. Ich heiße Natascha und bin 16 Jahre alt.
Okay.
Ich wohne in Novosibirsk
Yes.
und lerne schon seit 4 Jahren Deutsch. Meine Hobbys sind Bücher, Deutsch und Karten. Wer ist Zwölf bis 15 Jahre alt und schreibt mir. Ich freue mich über Briefe auf Deutsch aus der ganzen Welt.
Okay.
Hoffentlich bis bald.
Right. So, ikkada manaki demaindi ikkada. What is it you're then putting here? Basically, this is then coming where we are then saying, oh, hello, good day. I'm called Natasha and I'm 16 years old. I live in Novosibirsk and I'm learning German since 4 years. So my hobbies are books, German and cats. Now, who is 12 to 15 years old and will write to me? So I look forward to. Ich freue mich auf is then going to be always I look forward to. So she's looking forward to letters in German. So when you want to say in German, you don't say in Deutsch, you say auf Deutsch. Könnten Sie das bitte auf Englisch sagen? Could you please tell me that in English? Auf Deutsch bitte. Auf Englisch bitte. So auf English is then going to be here. Okay. Aus der ganzen Welt. These are all prepositions in Martin. So aus der ganzen Welt. From the whole world. So I'm looking forward to letters in German from the whole world. So hopefully till soon. Now you're supposed to write a response. First thing is you don't use your own name. Second, you're going to then say the requirement here is you must adhere to the requirements of the letter. It says a 12 to 14-year-old. So you are then going to try and write a letter, a response to this. Please do this initially please do it in English. Let us then see how you're able to respond to a letter. Okay? Please feel free to use the format which I have shown you. So you're then going to say, I have received your email.
Okay. I'm very happy to receive your email.
No, I received your email. Thank you for writing to me. Then you then give a little bit of details about yourself. So you're going to never use your own name. So you're going to say, I am called as Tom Alter. I live in London. I'm 12 years old. I'm learning German since the last 5-6 months. Okay, so my hobbies are football, guitar, walking. Okay, so then I give a little bit more information. My family consists of my father, my mother, and myself. I'm very fond of dogs. So we have a couple of dogs also. One is called Mickey, the other is then called Nasha, or no, don't give Natasha, so any other this one. And then you can then say Sasha, and then say, so then you say, my favorite subjects in school are maths and English. Then you can say, come to the third passage and say, what about you? Do you have siblings? What is your father by profession? So you're trying to find out, you're given some extra information. Now you're asking for more information about the child. So this is how you will slowly then try to develop an answer for this and then convert it into German for me. So start off with the English first. Later I will then show you, because you're comfortable with English and you should be able to do it. So అక్కడి నుంచి జర్మన్లోకి వస్తున్నప్పుడు కొన్ని తప్పులు జరుగుతాయి. అది ఎట్లా జరుగుతాయి, ఎందుకు జరుగుతాయి అనేది మీకు అర్థం కావడానికి కోసం you please first write it in English. Okay. Now we are now going to learn how we are supposed to be actually doing a little bit of listening. Listening lo oka technique undannamata. We are going to apply this technique, and we're going to try something which is relatively difficult. it is going to be relatively difficult. Now, here we are then going to start with the tape. So, now what does it say here? The first step in the learning of listening, this one is, it simply says listen. So, here we go. I'm starting the tape now. 3, 2, 1, start.
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche oder exklusiver argentinischer Rotwein für 9,08 €. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche oder exklusiver argentinischer Rotwein für 9,78 €. Besuchen Sie uns in Brettenstock. Frohe Weihnachten.
So, the first one, it is a confusing sound. There's a lot of background noise. There is a certain amount of confusion. The words which you've listened to, half of them you probably would have gone over your head. So maybe 10%, 15%, 20%. I have no idea how. Did you understand anything from?
No, it is like too much of echo.
That is right. Okay. Now here, what is it that we have? So I have purposely chosen a tape which is difficult to understand. Okay. Number one. Number two, analyze and think about, okay, why is it I'm not able to understand? One of the prime reasons is because your vocabulary is not yet at the level where you can happily then listen to it. So there's something you're not familiar with the words. So in the PDFs which have been given to you, you then have the facility that you can go to, this was number 5, no? Okay. So here we can then go to page number, yeah. This is then going to be better. And yeah, this is the one which we are now listening to on part. This is the one which you are listening to. So now the second part of this, the second one says, listen while reading the transcript. So all the Goethe PDFs which I have given to you have got a transcript of all the listening at the end of the passage over here. Now, what is it you are then going to then come here and say, okay, so you are now going to listen while playing the tape. Now you're going to read the passage over here. Now, let me set this back over here. Now pay attention.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche oder exklusiver argentinischer Rotwein für 9,78 €. Besuchen Sie uns in Brettenstock. Frohe Weihnachten.
So you are now listening and you're reading the transcript. So what are you doing? You're familiarizing yourself with the words. Strangers are now becoming friends. Okay, now having heard that the first time, you want to listen to it one more time, you can do that also. So you can take it back again and then you can listen to it from this one. So here.
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche oder exklusiver argentinischer Rotwein für 9,78 €. Besuchen Sie uns in Brettenstock. Frohe Weihnachten.
Having said that, we now close the transcript. We now listen to it one more time, and this time you're going to find certain improvement. Now,
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel Erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche oder exklusiver argentinischer Rotwein für 9,68 €. Besuchen Sie uns im 3. Stock.
Okay, so then,
Frohe Weihnachten.
okay. Now, in this listening, you are able to make out some of the words, but the clarity still is not there. So you're able to hear better than before?
Yeah.
Right. Also, have you noticed that the background noise seems to have reduced? You find that it is not so bad as when you were listening to it the first time.
Yeah.
You find that the reason for that is simple. Your focus has improved. So, like Arjuna standing with his guru Dronacharya and looking at the eye of the wooden bird in the tree, his focus is only on the target, nothing else. So here also, you're now listening with a greater focus. When you are listening, always remember, it is one of the most intense energy draining exercises that you are going to do. So never try going for a long conversation. You are training for a long conversation in the long run, but initially you try to do it only 1 line, 2 lines, half a line. That's all that you are going to attempt. Don't ever try doing long passages. It's going to be very draining. You will find that the focus on the manchika under, you're more likely to make errors. The real crux of what you are supposed to be doing is, these are the 4 steps which you have to do for listening. Okay. Now we are going to start with this one, and at the same time we will be following number 8 also, which is to transcribe. So here we then begin. I'm going to then start with this. So I remove this one here. We shall then open this and keep it here. And దీన్ని కొంచెం space చేసుకుందాం. Right. What do I mean by stop start? So I go to the starting point. Now we're starting.
Nummer 7.
I have heard 2 words. I stop over here. What does it then say? What are the words you heard?
Nummer 7.
So you then say Nummer 7. Okay. Now.
Liebe Kunden. Liebe Kunden.
2 words. What did you hear?
Lieben Kunden.
So, liebe Kunden. Dear customers. Very good. Well done. Absolutely wonderful. Liebe Kunden. So, next one. What do we hear after this? So, always go back to the starting point and do it so that the track will be there. Otherwise, you have difficulty. Now.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten.
What is the word you heard here?
Zu bei
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an.
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Super Preise an. Zum Beispiel bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel, liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Preise an. Preise an. Ihnen super Preise an. Bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an.
Are you now able to distinguish the words?
Not everything, but some.
No. అంటే మనకి ప్రారంభంలో లీబకుండం తర్వాత ఏమొస్తుంది? That is what we are focusing on.
Yeah. Zoo. It is zoo by nak.
No.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten beten wir Ihnen zu. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten beten wir Ihnen zu. Zu Weihnachten beten, zu Weihnachten, zu Weihnachten beten, zu Weihnachten beten, zu Weihnachten beten wir Ihnen zu Weihnachten beten, zu Weihnachten beten wir Ihnen.
This is called looping. So indana prarambham chesinappudu we did start and stop. Now this what we are doing is then the looping. So we are then going to then say zu Weihnachten. Zu Weihnachten. This is why I said listening is a very tiring exercise. It requires an immense amount of focus. Our focus long-term undadu. Prarambhamlo, like any athlete who builds up stamina, you cannot say if you want to do a 10-mile race, you're not going to run a 10-mile race on the first day of your running. So you're going to do 100 yards, then 200 yards, then go to 500 yards, then 1 mile, then you go to 2 miles. Atla vellibilliga penchukovalannamata. Atlage ikkada kudanu you are going to then do multiple systems are there. So now what you've been doing is start stop. Now you're doing looping. Looping lo kuda naaku ardham kala. Okay, so what I do is I go to the speed and then I say slower once. Then I come again and again make it even slower after this. Now I go back to the original one here and I listen to it.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Zum Beispiel erstklassiger italienischer Weißwein für 12,78 € die Flasche. Zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Kunden. Zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super. Zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise.
So when you are slowing it down, you're able to start making out more words. Okay, since I'm already familiar with this, I'm just going to then put it down. So Weihnachten is then going to be bieten wir Ihnen super
Riser or
Reise an. This is then going to be the first part of it. Okay, so you are now seeing I can slow it down, I can slow it, loop it. So at the same time, I have to do my transcription. Okay, what we have done is the sample over here. All right, now I then come here and open my this one over here, so the transcript. Now I'm going to check, have I then done it properly? So I bring it here and I say, okay. Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an. Up till here, it is exact. No problems. Capitalization were required. Okay, so you're then holding everything in right order over here. So sequence is coming correctly. Now we go and then look at, we close this one, and then we then say, now it says play at normal speed. Now first thing is we go here and then say normal speed. And we take it back to the original starting point and we then listen. And you this time pay attention.
Nummer 7.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an.
If now you notice every word is distinctly heard. You have zero problem in hearing it. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, point of the matter, all the background noise seems to have disappeared completely. So, familiarity with the words is going to help you no matter what you do. Imagine yourself in a railway station which is buzzing with people. A main railway station like Hyderabad or Secunderabad or any major junction, Vijayawada. There are going to be multiple mics all over the place. And you're going to have announcements being made. Okay, so quite often you have to focus on what they are saying. So they're going to say, your attention passenger, your kind attention passengers, train number 3541 from Hyderabad to Chennai is now arriving on platform number 6. Then you are focusing on that and you're able to hear what they are then pronouncing. Daichesi Vinandi announcement over there, and you are able to then focus and listen. Those are words you're familiar with. That is why you are able to make them out, in spite of all the noise, in spite of everything. So partially focus, partially familiarity with the language. So our vocabulary is still in a comparatively in the process of, it's under development. So we're in the process of learning vocabulary. So this is one of the activities that we have to then do when we want to improve our vocabulary and that. So I need you to then work upon this particular one and do this. So let's stay student. Okay. So now after this, we don't stop either. Have to increase the speed and listen. Enduku ante, the real German doesn't speak at this speed. He speaks much faster than this. Telinappudu idu manaku chala fast anpistundi. Ippudu em chestunnam, we're going to go here and speed lo velli, we're going to say faster once, and then we're going to then come and say faster fine another time. Rendu saalu cheppesam. Ippudu we are going to go back again in this one. Start the tape and we're going to then watch this.
Liebe Kunden, zu Weihnachten bieten wir Ihnen super Preise an.
ఇంత ఫాస్ట్గా వెళ్ళినా కూడా ప్రతి అక్షరం మనకి వినిపిస్తుంది. This is the ultimate. That means our listening skills have improved since we started in March. This, I want you to start with the PDFs ఇది చేసుకోవటం. ఇప్పటిదాకా మీరు ఏం చేశారు? When we were first learning from the PDF to German PDF, you were having in German, you were having in English, and then you were working upon you were able to understand. When it came to the listening, it was being given in English, and then you were audio in English, the audio in German, and you were able to follow. Now you have nothing. There is going to be no indications at all. So when you are going to start and then go at this one, and there's a certain amount of listening to be done, this is the methodology that you have to then train yourself. The methodology is then going to be valid till the time you reach a C1. And the length of the conversation is going to increase. It is going to be a few seconds. But as time goes by, we have to be able to listen to long conversations. Like now in English, when I'm talking and I'm talking for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you are able to hear. We were going for a seminar, you were hearing a speaker talking for 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour of speeches. So you are able to then recollect these points and how we are then doing it. At last, because of the familiarity, words you are going to be able to do this. Okay, right. We stop over here for today. I'll say bye to you. Try out one or two from the PDFs. Every PDF has got the transcription at the end pages. You're free to refer to them. You do 5 tapes, 10 tapes, 15 tapes, 20 tapes. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you are going to be able to do it without referring to the transcription. So then you are ready to go to higher levels. Okay, right.
Okay.
Stop over here for today. I'll say bye to you, and we shall meet the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, I may not be. I'm traveling on that day.
Acha, Aklana. Yeah. Which is then going to be Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday night I'm traveling to Tenali, so I may not be able to attend class on Thursday.
Okay, Ji. Then on Saturday we will discuss whether to meet on Sunday or not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm cancelling this one then.
Yep.
All right. Right. All the best then. I'll see you. If not then, I'll see you on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
All the best then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ciao.